No, just no. You are not doing t-shirts. Stop it. What's up, YouTube? Thetagem here with another video for you for knife collection. But first, a small detour. The videos I traditionally show you are from Jason's point of view for learning the maps. But that's not all these walkthroughs teach you. As Jason, you can see where the phone fuse is. You can see where the power boxes on your map are. And you can see the cabin configurations that differ between certain maps. Learn these. On the large maps, the cabin that contains the phone is always in the same camp as the cabin where you find the fuse, but it's never in the same house. The first drawer I opened here contained the fuse. I don't have a map yet, but I now know we're on map C. I'm able to call the police within the first minute of the match as a result. Now, this is a best case scenario. It does not happen often, but it does prove one very solid point. The preparedness perk is utterly useless. Think about it. Think about how much better you'd be at the game if you learned the maps. Think about the fact that should you be one of those players that uses preparedness, you'd have an extra perk slot to equip any number of things. Now think again about how much better that would make you at the game. All you have to do is learn the maps. You can tell which map you're on by a number of things, such as cabin names, location of the power boxes, cabin configurations that are unique to certain maps, and at the very least, the location of the shack can narrow things down. Learning the maps will tell you with 100% accuracy where the phone is, so you'll know where to look for the fuse. My walkthroughs will make you a better Jason, yes, but they'll also make you a better counselor. Trust me. Here's another example. I'm on my way to Woodbury. I have the gas, but I decide to duck into this house that's on the way to see if I can't find some goodies to help me out. I don't have a map, but I do happen upon the fuse. I now know we're on map D. I know that as soon as I put the gas in, I'm headed to the cabin up there at the 12 o'clock position to call the police. You do not need a map. You just need to pay attention. Now, soapbox rant over. Who wants some large Higgins D? The large version of Higgins Haven has 4 map variants, just like Packanack Large does. And for both of those maps, I feel that variant D is the easiest to identify. For Jason, it's simple. Look for 3 cabins up at Higgins Camp. This is the only map variant that has this. There are plenty of other differences too, and you can visit the website where I got this enhanced map if you like. Geekboxing provided it as usual. The website is in the description below. Remember, there are 22 knives to collect, but 33 total locations, so 11 spots will be empty. As with the last 3 walkthroughs I did for Higgins Large, I start at the bridge and work my way around. I'm not going to work too hard this time though. At this point, you should know all about the guaranteed knife locations from previous videos of Higgins Large. For example, there can be one behind me here on the other side of this bridge, but I'm not going to bother splicing in footage of knives in all the guaranteed locations. There are 3 other videos on my channel that will help you with that. I'll still collect them in this playthrough, so I end up with 28, and I'll still approach the areas where they can spawn and mention them, but I'm not going to splice in video of me collecting these guaranteed location knives. It's easier if you just go watch my video for Higgins Large A. I probably explain it better there anyway. For example, the dock down here that I almost walked to can have one on the shed thing. It's not there this time. Moving on. Although I won't be splicing in footage of every, what I call guaranteed location knife, I will, however, splice in video of me collecting cabin knives that are absent, just so you're aware of their locations. But for you, this will only be useful for those cabins without names, right? You have been learning the cabin names and the knife locations on them, haven't you? Haven't you? Right. After getting the first few knives in those guaranteed locations, I move on to the first cabin up at Blair's Cove. This time it's the birdcage, and that's why I stopped chopping down the door. The birdcage can only ever have a knife on its rear right side. This is the only map in which it's the birdcage too. Maps A and C, the first cabin is Pfeiffer Flat. Map B, it's Carmine's Moose Lodge. If you're playing the large map, and you start over here, the name of this cabin can help you to identify the map variant. And if you've done your proper homework, this will tell you where the phone is located, and where Jason's shack is. And for map D, the phone is 2 cabins down. So the fuse is in this camp somewhere. For players that like to use repair-focused counselors like me, this gives you a huge advantage. Now, I've grabbed a knife from the front right of Puopolo's cabin. and taken a small detour for a guaranteed location knife on a lamppost, and then circled around back for the second knife inside the back door of Popolo's. No matter what map, I've only ever found knives on a Popolo's cabin in these two spots, so don't even bother looking elsewhere. Okay, with the door chopped down, all that's left is to grab the knife and head on down to the third cabin at Blair's Cove. This next cabin has two knives, and the first is on this corner by the road. The second one is on the bathroom, but I don't realize that until a later playthrough. I'll splice in footage of that later, but on this one, I still check inside. I first, however, grab the knife on the lamp, and then, for some reason, I mosey on over to the fourth cabin to take the one behind the half wall. Then, I get confused. Please enjoy. This is what it looks like when I'm confused. Okay. As you can see, I assumed the knife was still inside on the corner for this map. It's not. It's on the bathroom portion of the house, only it's on the opposite corner than it has been for every other map. I'll splice in footage of me collecting that knife now. Here I am grabbing the one off the corner by the road, and then, I still chop down the door. There's really no need to go inside this cabin unless you're trying to catch someone. This must be the first footage I have of me realizing this, but I won't make the mistake again. The phone house on map D has two knives outside, and don't you forget it. I know I won't. Okay, now that we've grabbed that successfully, back to the original playthrough. Here I am inside the house. Now don't forget to check this light post before morphing to the dock at Higgins. There wasn't anything there this time, but there can be. My morph point was off, and that sucks. Luckily for me, I have charisma on my side, and I can use that to fill time. The next few knives are all in guaranteed locations. You've heard this song and dance before. One on the light at the end of the dock, two on the two shed things on the sides of the house, and then two in the barn, one on the left door and one on the pole just behind it. See this little shed thing jutting out? There can be a knife on the corner there. These spots may or may not have knives for you. Once we're done with this area, I'll morph up to Higgins Camp. Remember, there are 3 cabins up there. This is the only variant of the map to have 3 cabins there. If you're a counselor and you start in this camp, you know what map you're on. You know the phone is at the 3rd house over in Blair's from the bridge, and you know where Jason's shack is. You do not need the preparedness perk. Now, I did not like the footage I had of this area, so I'm splicing in footage now. I spent a lot of time chopping down doors for no reason, when the knife locations in this camp are beyond simple. All 3 cabins can spawn a knife on the rear corner. Sometimes it's on the side of the rear corner though, but it's always on the rear. Be careful not to miss these. So, okay, I guess I lied. Map D has, 34 possible locations? The number isn't important. Just know that all 3 of these cabins have a chance to spawn a knife on the rear. This tiny edit here literally saves 2 minutes of footage. So just go with it. Up next, Evergreen. The first cabin we happen upon up here is Perry Pavilion, and I like to get the knife on the rear right first for map D. Here, I'm going to show you a little known shift technique. I shouldn't give this away, but I will. It's called the shift like shit and get hung up on a tree technique. I really should shorten the name. In any case, there's another knife inside. It's behind the table on the corner. Somebody should have told me that the door was open. Perry Pavilion, no matter which map you're on, can only spawn knives in these 2 locations. Learn the cabin names. It will help. Going around counterclockwise is an unnamed cabin. It's the same cabin that was on map A, and the knife is in the same spot too. Remember the power box was here for map B? So if you start up here and you notice a power box on this cabin, you don't need the preparedness perk. You know you're on map B. You know the phone is at the main lodge and the fuse should be up at Higgins Camp. That's a ton of info to gain from the location of a single power box, but you can do it. I promise. Sorry to be repetitive, but I have to do something to pass the time while I get turned around. Next up, Pfeiffer flat. Knife on the front left and behind the chair on the inside. The one on the front left wasn't here for this playthrough, but I'll splice it in. Pfeiffer flat will always have a chance to have knives in these two locations. You'll never find one anywhere else. Up next, the last cabin at Evergreen. We're on the home stretch now. This cabin, on all 4 versions of Higgins, has knives in essentially the same 2 spots. So, old hat here, right? Inside in the hallway, and over on the bathroom. So, let's grab them quick and head down to Stillwater. The first cabin I go to in Stillwater is Crumb Cabin, just like every single version of Higgins Large, except for map variant C, where this cabin would be Puopolo's. You know what I'm going to say. If you start here and this cabin is Puopolo's, learn the maps, huh? In any event, Crumb Cabin always has knives in the same 2 spots, on the front right, and then there's a door on the right on the inside that has one on the wall behind it. This door can be stupid and not open even if it isn't locked, so I usually just end up chopping it down. Last up, Solid Weld Lodge. This cabin has knives on the bathroom and inside the front door. But notice, my total is already 28. They will not be there on this playthrough, so I have to edit in alternate footage. I'll take this time to say thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it makes you better at the game. My gameplay has gotten much better since I started making them. It helps me to make decisions faster, know where to go, and to help others in public lobbies to do things quicker as well. I win so many more games now that I've undertaken the challenge to make these videos. Sucks they're all on Packanack Large and Higgins Large, but I'll get to the other maps eventually. I just hope that this video has shown you that these walkthroughs can help the counselors out there. Counselors should feel... Oh, look, I got a bird on my shoulder. Counselors should feel the need to memorize the maps even more so than Jason. If this video helped you, give it a like, a comment, a thumbs up, and be sure to share it around. I have a lot of fun playing this game, and hopefully you can learn this stuff without too much effort and relight that spark in your own gameplay. Send me a friend request on the PSN. Stay safe out there, you guys. Cheers, and happy Friday.